In a poor neighborhood, Michael lived with his wife Lisa and their only son, Ethan. Despite their simple life, they were happy, gathering every evening for dinner and sharing conversations. But behind this happiness, there was a deadly secret. Lisa had been addicted to drugs for years, hiding it from her husband and son as much as possible. But her body could no longer endure it, and her health rapidly declined. After medical tests, the devastating news came: late-stage lung cancer. The house turned into a place of sorrow. Michael was helpless, and Ethan watched his mother wither away. After months of suffering, Lisa passed away, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. Michael tried to be strong for his son, but every night, he broke down in front of Lisa's picture. Meanwhile, Ethan found another way to escape his pain addiction. He started smoking drugs in dark alleys, trying to forget his sorrow without telling his father. As days passed, Michael changed. He began talking to himself, sitting for hours in front of his wife's picture, and sometimes harming himself. Ethan noticed the change in his father, but he was too lost in his own addiction to care. One day, Michael saw Ethan smoking in an alley. He stood before him with furious eyes and said in a trembling voice, "Do you want to end up like your mother?" Then he slapped the cigarette from his hand and walked away. But Ethan didn't stop. One night, he sneaked back home, only to find his father waiting for him. This time, there were no wordsonly brutal violence. Michael hit him as if he were avenging something much deeper than a cigarette. He didn't realize he had gone too far until Ethan collapsed motionless. He approached him, called his name, but there was no breath. The horrifying truth sank in. He had killed his only son. A heavy silence filled the house. Michael panicked but decided to hide his crime. He locked the body in a dark room and continued his life, as if nothing had happened. But inside, he was completely shattered. Michael was no longer just a grieving man, he had become a killer, but in his own way. At night, he roamed the streets, searching for young addicts, luring them into isolated places, and ending their lives in gruesome ways. Next to each body, he left a note that read, "I kill them before their addiction does." The city was shaken by the repeated murders, and the police launched an investigation to find the mysterious killer. After months, they found Michael's fingerprints at one of the crime scenes. When they raided his home, they uncovered the shocking truth. Ethan's body was still preserved in a locked room. Michael was arrested and sentenced to life in prison. But he didn't stay there for long. One night, he was found hanging in his cell, leaving behind a final note: "I will leave this life to reunite with my wife and son in heaven."